Well, I figured this was as good a place to start as any in our second stop on our little tour. You saw the very small segment of the Maney Mansion, which would be distant relatives of ours, perhaps. No official link there, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Now I'm in what's called Booger Hollow, if you can believe that. It is the cousins of my father, Belle and Homer Scoggins, and this is their little farm. We'll sort of peel back to the sign and pan along. Cart and the trucks going by on the road here out by the farmhouse. This is their farm. Through the trees there, you can see the farmhouse. I'll be up close to that in a minute. So that's where we stayed last night. It's now the next day from when I did my Maney Mansion filming. And you can sort of look on around. There's barn. There's the New Hampshire wagon there. You can see all the flowers and trees and whatnot they've got planted. As I said before, this is the farm. You can see the fields in the back there. Belle and Homer Scoggins. They are my father, Jerry Maney's cousins. His blood cousin is Belle, and her husband Homer Scoggins. They are the children of Nola Mae Maney, who was J B Maney's sister and Milton Melvin Maney's daughter. So I believe their children would be my second cousins. And they also have grandchildren, which would be Sarah's third cousins. We'll walk on down in and see some more of the barn and whatnot down the lane here. There's a nest of, go ahead and get rid of the date. There's a nest of bluebirds I wanted somebody to take a look at. Also introduce everybody to who's here. J B and Belle are sitting on the porch. As you can see, I'm walking down in a much better view of the farmhouse. It's actually a pretty good sized farmhouse, very good shape. This particular house you're looking at here was built in 1902 and has been there ever since. It's come down through the Scoggin family, not through the Maneys. We'll just kind of come on down. As you can see, as I'm going through here, the barn here is in the back, a small barn here in the back. Very well kept yard, as any farmers would be, I guess. Here we have J B and Belle. What's that?
Laid back.
That's right.
What?
Say hello to television land.
Yes, hello.
What did you say?
Everybody.
That's right, down here in Georgia.
And we should have met everyone a long time ago.
That's right. And there's the birdhouse I was talking about. Unfortunately, the bluebird, as soon as I got my camera out, took off, which is fairly typical.
Terrible.
But there's the bluebird family in there. If the bird comes back, we'll try to film it. We'll just keep moving along here. There's the old barn. There's the big garden in the back. That's really the only crops they raise at this point. It's kind of a work shed garage. You can see the H.R. Scoggins. Now that going by there is the neighbors next door. They are chicken farmers next door. And they just rotated out their chickens, and when they do that, they collect all of the stuff on the floor, the chicken crap, and spread it on the fields of the farmers around next to them. And so what they're doing basically is coming out and spreading the chicken stuff on the fields. There are actually pastures back through here, as you can see out through that way. And that is a Scoggins that is actually doing the spreading there. That is, I believe, Homer's brother or Homer's brother's son, who has a farm right near here. You see the families are all intertwined. And the yellow bow we're looking at is because Homer and Belle's grandson, my second cousin, was in the Gulf War. He's home now, but he hasn't come all the way home. He's back in the United States. We may actually get to meet him, but we'll continue to pan around. Get a look at the farm, and we may take some shots inside later on as well. But for now, we'll go ahead and fade out here with another little point of interest. Those are gourd bird houses that they keep out over the fields for purple martins, and apparently they are inhabited by purple martins, but I thought it'd be interesting to show the gourds. And on that, we'll go ahead and fade on out. I thought I heard the bluebirds, so I was going to jump in real quick and fire a shot. There it is. It's the mama bluebird.
Little brother.
Sitting on the porch now, filming the bluebirds getting fed by their mother. Oh, and away it goes, on down into the pasture to get some more to eat. But I wanted to get a quick shot of that from the porch. I'm glad I was able to get that on tape. Hopefully the color came out pretty well, but we'll knock back off here. Well, here we have the grave of J B's brother, the one that died the youngest. I don't know how this is going to come through on tape. But this is Albert Maney, born March 31st, 1869, died August. I went down and looked at it. August.
1896.
Oh, that's 1896. So he was born March 31st, 1896, and died August 23rd, 1916. And the name is Albert, E-L-B-E-R-T, Maney. And that's J.B.'s brother, younger brother, my great uncle. This is his grave out in, where are we?
Carnesville.
Carnesville, Georgia.
Middle River Church.
Middle River Church. And right next to him is Belle's grandfather, a Wood. He was Montville T. Wood. Taylor Wood, Montville Taylor Wood, May 16, 1847, December 7, 1919. Buried right next to Albert.
Well, now then, how could he have been if that
Yeah,
is
it's in Martha.
1916?
Yeah, that's what it says. And that's 1919.
Well, now see,
Here we have the grave of the 5 children that died, either stillborn or very small, from Mrs. Wood. That would be who? Mrs.
Maney Wood.
Nola Maney Wood. So these are the 5 children of my great aunt, J.B.'s sister, one of whom was Myrtle, and another one was Mildred. These are the little markers out here, and then 3 were stillborn. There's, who knows which marker belongs to what.
No, because they just put them when they were there.
But these would be Nola Maney, or now Nola Wood, or then Nola Wood's 5 children. And that would be Albert, sister.
The same place.
And they're buried, he's buried next to not only Mr. Wood, but also to Nola's 5 young children that didn't make it. Get one last shot of Albert Maney's grave. As I'm told, Albert lived to be 20 years old, was married, had 1 child, and his wife was pregnant with the second one when he died. He was not the first of the 16 children to die. That'll be a slight correction maybe to what I said a little earlier. Grady Maney was the one who died very young. Albert was the second one to die of some sort of disease that came on very quickly at age 20. So we'll jump on out of here. Now here we are at the grave of Arthur Wood and his wife Icy. Go ahead and zoom in on it after I get rid of the date here. Arthur Wood was Nola Maney's son. He was born January 25th, 1913, died November 6, 1986, not too long ago. He was married to Icy, born April 8th, 1915, Died October 30th, 1987. Interestingly, on the memorial they've got when they were married, December 27th, 1931. And once again, Arthur was Nola Maney's oldest son, which would make him my father's cousin. He and his wife buried here. This is what church?
Crossroads.
This is Crossroads Baptist Church in Carnesville, Georgia. Well, here we are at the old Maney homestead with J B and Marler and Belle and Homer. Y'all don't have to stop talking just because I'm
Yeah, I
filming.
know it. We all stop when you begin to.
There's Marler and Homer.
Marler, flat right back over in here. A little flat there? Well, then we're sitting close to the head of the spring at Monroe Place. Monroe Springs right back here.
Monroe Springs back in here.
Then I know about then where we're sitting. We might get back up here. Yeah. Rome didn't know what he did, and I bought his share. I decided I wasn't worth much, so I gave it to him. And he didn't get much out of it.
I just can't imagine.
I bet the whole thing is selling for $300 or $400. Oh yeah, yeah. What to say about it? Supposed to be Marler for the patent land all 200 like 81 or 2. The old part. Oh, okay, then the patent place was what acres he said he bought? I forget it. Anyway, Dad said 281. He said.
Well, 281 acres. No.
Since nobody here lives.
Okay.
Well, we just came down from that road up there, and apparently where this new house stands is supposedly where the old Maney house stood. It would have been Milton's house, my great-grandfather. My great-uncle and my grandfather, the two brothers, are going around to see if their current owners are here. They know them. That there is Marler. He will be 94 this year. There's JB. Now this is where the house was, right? Where was the spring house?
The house set about here. Smokehouse, wait, we had to drive, come up between them. Smokehouse is right here. Now wait, the spring's right in here. There's the spring. There's the spring. That's the rocks. That's kind of the head of it. Yeah, my house is a little further up here. That's a little further over.
Yeah.
Well, the house is a little bit further up the hill then, towards the back here where that radar dish
Well,
is.
the other house come up at least 15 feet further. Right here. Huh? Well, don't you remember
It was right after the spring.
It wasn't right after.
Right here, that's where they got the murder night about.
Yeah, but it looks to me like that big further in.
See, I didn't know what it was. And the water was running down through the trough that was there. And the milk was so good and cold. We wasn't used to having good cold milk like that. It was ours. Anyhow, and there was this baby. The reason I remember it all was the shade. It was up in the chicken tree.
And this side,
Now, see this makes it come back to me when I see
Well,
it like
I mean,
this, but I
the only thing
couldn't
we've
see
got
that
going on Monday is we've got our Spanish
before the
class at
house,
6 p.m.
before it was here, and I knew.
So if you want to hang around during the day on Monday, absolutely.
Back around above Devil Barn, there's still them cheap.
I didn't
Here comes somebody.
tell it.
That's up to you.
Well, I'd rather speak to them when you.
And I couldn't imagine.
Well, we'll go ahead and shut off here and see
And
what
I
happens.
timed everything out.
Cross
From the
Avenue
time
down
you
around there.
step on the train here at the station next to us, including getting off the train and running and riding the little people mover from the train station building to the airport.
Well,
All of
no,
that, all in.
that's back to the spring house, had a little high dirt.
You can basically walk from standing at the
Don't knock him in there.
fire building to be in the terminal, ready to go through, the X-ray or whatever, in 30 minutes.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
Well, that's new. That's for the old tree. Well, because it can be,
Oh,
what is it, 80?
push the button. We're locked and loaded. Push the button.
They
She's
can
good
be.
with that. Now, the only thing is,
Oh,
for Thursday night and Friday night, you'll have to be on the couch because Salon
A beat?
aren't in town all
I
together.
did something.
Well, yeah, we actually do have.
And one last shot
air
of the
mattress
Maney
that
house
we had stored
stand. This old
that we're gonna put on the
house
floor
now.
in their room so Taylor can
Maney
sleep
house
on
is
that.
back in there. And one thing that my grandfather and my great uncle
Oh, absolutely.
remember is the spring.
Absolutely.
That's why we've been sort of standing here discussing it.
Absolutely.
Same spring they
Absolutely.
drank out of more than 90 years ago. We'll go ahead and
No, the air
throw the date and the time in here, and we'll close that on the spring. And maybe head to the cemetery now. Here we
Because
are
the
at
other
the
one was still up in the storage
my
unit.
great grandfather Milton
So
Maney.
this is the one that was in the storage unit,
March
and we used the
31,
one in the
1870,
storage
August
unit
25th,
after they moved our
1947.
furniture out of
This is
Willow
the
Avenue. before
cemetery
we
where there's a
moved
heck of a lot of
into
people that I'm related to.
So we actually got that we had
Go on along here.
cubicle storage thing down here. And I
Start
went
down
this
here,
morning to
although
get
that
out
was the
and
major one.
inflate it, make sure it's all good. But yeah, that's,
There's Lambert
so
J.
that,
Maney.
and I already cleared with Salon. I said, look, we'd love to have you, blah, 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 but you're gonna have to have
1963,
Taylor
that's
in
one
the
of
room
my
with you.
grandfather's
And
brothers.
they're like, okay, no problem.
see, like some things.
There's Charlie Maney, son of Mr. and Mrs. Milton Maney. Died just before I was born, another of my grandfather's brothers. There's Milton again. There's his wife, Missouri. One who had 16 children laying right in there.
Oh, where, now where?
What's that? Let's see what else we got here. There's Emory. That was the one of the 16 that didn't go very far.
Well, when you get your confirmation email and all
There's
that,
some
after you make all the
disagreement as to whether or not
reservations,
this
just
day
forward
is
it to me.
right. That's Grady, Emory Grady, son of Mr. and Mrs. Milton Melvin Maney.
Yep.
And then these are infant sons of Ruth
That's fine.
Beck.
That would do
Sons, I
it.
guess, that didn't make it.
My sister.
Yeah, and I will
Morris,
check
what
on
is that,
how late
January
the train
30th,
runs
1931?
Thursday night. I'll do that for you.
March 6th,
And if it
1931.
runs, fine. If not, I'll
Doyce,
pick you up
March
at the airport.
17,
You'll get you here one way or the
1933,
other.
same day. And Boyce, March 17, 1933, I think died the same day. Yeah, they were twins. Both of them must have
Ken
died.
wants to meet you at the airport. It's 10:45 p.m.
Where everybody else is headed here.
That's true. Well, we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out.
Hell,
What's this down here?
bought all this.
What's this down here?
Wait, who is this on monitor?
This,
That's our nephew.
you know, Albert that we went to see
Absolutely.
yesterday?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is his son.
Got a bug on the lens. This is
Yeah,
Albert Maney's
and
son.
one other
no
thing, and I can show it to you when you get here. So,
Died last year.
Died last year.
I bought a used VCR slash DVD
Oh, I didn't know
machine,
it was there. Let's see. Yeah.
and I actually bought a little device where I can play the
That's
VHS
Senior
tape
Maney's son.
through a little converter into my computer and convert both DVD and
Okay.
VHS into computer files. It's really cool.
There's 20 by the marker.
Well, I like
This whole graveyard.
Yeah, I mean,
back
and
here in the foothills of Georgia
it plays off of standard
has some
VCR. I just
relatives
didn't
in
have
there.
a
We don't have
VCR.
time
So I bought a used one
to go
off
through
of
and
the
document it
off
all.
of
We just
eBay.
got the Maney.
So if you had a normal VCR with the
We were
normal
just shooting into
connections,
two bunkies. I
this
walked
little
around.
device, little converter device, which the software for your
A lot of
computer
Ellers
you
in here.
download from the website
A
for
lot of
free.
Ellers. There's one
But this
that
little
goes
converter
over
device enables you literally to transfer
lot of
VHS
Ellers in
and DVD into computer
We'll
files.
scan across the
And I've
Maney
got one.
channel.
One of the reasons I answered the phone is I was sitting at my desk. I've got
Here's
one running
Cordy.
right now.
Shook's grave.
Back
This
from
was
1991 when
Cordy
I
Maney,
went down
J B and
to
Marlar's sister, and
Georgia
her
with my
husband as well.
grandfather, because I'm kind of going back to look at that
Her husband, Albert Shook,
be input for my book.
and Cordy. Cordy just died last year, not even 6 months ago.
Yeah, he's gonna. I don't know what time his flight leaves out of Fort Lauderdale.
Trip
That I don't know, but he'll be driving out.
Getting ready to roll here. I just
in
thought
the
I'd do a
car
little
on Saturday.
panorama real quick, show where everybody's buried in case they ever need to come back.
And
There's
Friday.
the father, my great grandfather, Milton.
Yeah, he's gonna get here Thursday. He's gonna get here Thursday afternoon. They're just gonna get up out of Key West, drive up to Miami, and that's that. And he's just gonna text me when he gets close, and then we're gonna park his car and all that kind of stuff.
Missouri, Milton's wife.
No, it's only 2.
1877, November 3rd, 1925.
That's cool, but it's only
And
3
next to them were
days.
2 sons.
I mean, 3 days is nothing.
Charlie died the year I was born. Lambert died about a year after I was born.
Alrighty.
There's a
Onward and
son
upward.
of
This is
Elbert.
fantastic.
Showed
An
another
official
little
team
piece.
meeting in Miami.
Elbert we've already seen. And there's the one of the 16 that didn't make it very far, which we already showed. I'm doing this twice just for posterity.
Which is actually within walking distance.
Grady.
It's a long
March
walk, but it's within
1904.
walking distance here. We walked there when we did the food tour. And I got him 2 official
April 8th,
Blue of the
1905.
Band
Then
hand-rolled
3
Cuban cigars.
children, Ruth Beck, the young
And
ones.
so I'm going to present those to him. And I told him, he can smoke one right on the balcony.
You can hear them sort of talking. They actually came in and weeded the place a little bit. There's 2 surviving sons. 4 of their siblings are buried here, as well as their parents. And I guess I'll have to cut out here. Hopefully this hasn't been too bumpy. Serious history in this.
Hell yeah. See, this is what you do when you retire. You can just do whatever the fuck you want.
Old place. No one lives there anymore.
The team tribunal will be meeting and reviewing in detail your retirement plans. Just be prepared.
And we continue our little disjointed tape here. We've come back from the graveyard.
Alright, well this is
Had a real nice
fantastic.
dinner.
This is fantastic.
Wanted to get a shot of Uncle Marlar's house.
Alright, and then just email me your
Almost 94.
email me the confirmation email with all your flight details
The
and we'll go
garden
from
in
there.
front here is co-run by him and his daughter and son-in-law. We'll slowly pan over. There's barns and whatnot back in there. We can zoom in on that a little bit. This all belongs to my great Uncle Marlar. And as we pan
Alrighty,
along, we get
fantastic.
over right on the same property
Alright,
with his
talk to you
daughter,
later.
Roberta, and her husband, Kenneth. Roberta and Kenneth Copeland live here in this house. As a matter of fact, there's everybody up on the porch. Zoom in. You can see my great Uncle Marlar in the hat. That's Roberta with the glasses and the, I can't tell what color shirt that is because I look at this in black and white. Standing next to JB is Roberta. That's Kenneth Copeland, Marlar, and then of course Belle and Homer Scoggins behind them, looking out over the lake, and we'll sort of look out here. They've got a lake out in front of their house that they've stocked with various kinds of fish. Had a wonderful meal with the Copelands. Again would be my father's cousin. Pan along here, this is all part of Marlar and Kenneth's property. Again back to Marlar's house. So it'll continue to rotate on around here where he's doing some work to build onto the house. Once again up to the patio, we'll take another look at everybody. Marlar and JB there together, 2 brothers. From left to right is Homer, J B, Marler. Behind Marler is Kenneth,
They are.
and then Roberta and Belle. All relatives are married into the Maney family. And we'll go ahead and hear J B being a clown, drinking him some whiskey from the still. And we'll come on back. Now we'll go ahead and
Well,
out of here and shut down, and we may be heading to Aunt Emma's. Well, here we are at the house of Otis and Irma Eller. Irma being Cordy Shook.
Yeah. And if he bosses here, it would be 6.
And I'm sort of panning around
So,
here. We get a look at his garden. See if I can zoom in on some beans here.
Zoom in on the barn.
Yeah, you can see a bean right in the middle of the screen there hanging down. Go ahead and pan back around this way. Past my Uncle Marler. Up to the old barn.
Yeah.
And here comes Irma. There's Otis. And in here, and here comes Irma. I believe that'd probably be a cousin of my father's. Irma Eller. They're looking for a hornet's nest, but what my grandfather's standing right in front of there, I'm going to zoom in. That's the old outhouse. I thought it'd be funny to check it out. And you can see right, I'll kind of come down in here. You can see the old toilet seat right in there. That's their old outhouse. They just never have torn it down. I think it's funny that I'm filming an outhouse. How are you?
Okay, Harry.
Fine. There's their farmhouse. We'll get another shot of them out front. Put the date back in. A couple days have gone by since I last shot anything. But there's more footage of more farmhouse. So here's again another shot of their garden. I was just putting this garden on here mainly because I wanted to show one. It seems like everybody's got gardens. This is squash in here. And right next to it be tomatoes. All up in there, you can see them hanging off the vine. Bug on my leg, sorry for the jitters. There's the other side of the old outhouse. I think that's so funny. And all the relatives are still talking. That's my grandfather, J B Maney. And that's Irma Shook, Cordy's daughter. Her husband is Otis Eller. He could be a distant relation to Missouri Eller. His father was Alfred Eller. And my Uncle Marler's in there by the tree. This is kind of a bad shot with him under the trees. But we'll kind of pan around here. Their house is actually fairly nice and modern. On down into the farmland that they own. And they own part of this forest around in here.
Okay.
We'll finish back up where everybody's standing.
On this credit card, I just told send you a different
Yeah, this is what we call mountain folk here. I'm standing on Irma and Otis Eller's property and pan along with the gardens, the road down below. And you can see we're up here in the mountains. So I get this view down through here with some of their flowers. And I don't know whose house that is over there, but this is the kind of life that the majority of my relatives live, at least the ones that come from the Maine. It's a long way from here to Amos Tuck School, that's for sure. So here we are at the old Chute Creek Cemetery. We found some gravestones. Charlie Maney and his wife Vinnie. And then over this way, there's another Maney, Edith. And let's see who's on the other side here. Ralph W. Looks like he hadn't passed on yet because there's no death date for him. But Edith T, well, there's no death date for her too. These people are still around, but who knows who they are. Here's some more Maneys. Arthur A. And Ella K. And next to him is Harley Weldon. Died when he was 54, kind of young. I want to film the back of this tombstone because I think some of this elder and whatnot has to do with our family, but I don't know what. We'll get the other top of this tombstone with these woodies and I don't know who all these blanket chips are and whatnot. We'll go around the front and see who this is. Now here's Lazarus Anderson, which I know is a relative for sure. Zoom in on him. We're still at the old Chute Creek Cemetery, scanning the area here. There's Lizzie Anderson, daughter of Liza and John Anderson. That's probably a connection somewhere. There's Maney Maydeen. I don't know who that was. That's probably a very distant relative. There's a C. Lynn Maney. I don't know if that's a birth date or a death date. And Christy Maney, that must be birth and death right there. Can't quite pick up what the date is. Looks like 7/13/68, 7/14/68. She didn't last very long. Along the way, because we saw some Maneys in the cemetery of the Church of God in Chute Creek. There's a George Maney. I believe that's 1904 and 1984. And Dorothy, 1910, 1948. December 23rd. Samuel C. Maney. Martha B. Maney. Here's more of the Moss-Maney relationship. Joan Moss and Eddie Maney. Maney, let me zoom in on the dates here. I won't move the flowers. January 15th, September 23, 1959. I believe that's 1988. Now we're at the Bethabury Baptist Church Cemetery in Chute Creek, and this is Nancy Anderson, who I believe was originally Nancy Maney. Married an Anderson, and that's how the Andersons came into the Maneys, and this whole cemetery is full of Andersons. I don't know if that's one of her dads or what, or one of her children. I'd have to look all that up at some point. There's a bunch of Andersons in here. Here's Paul Maney, son of Mr. and Mrs. J.L. Maney. And right next door, J.L. and Sally Maney. I'll zoom in. He's a distant relative, I'm sure. Born 1865. There's Sally. That makes it look like she's still alive because it hadn't been buried there, but maybe she's someplace else. She'd be 120 if she's still alive, so I doubt she is. There's a Milton Maney Jr., no doubt descended from the right kind of moss. Colleen Maney, May 25th, 1878. And Addie Maney, August 25th, 1878, September 1, 1950. Over here we've got William Fred Maney, February 25th, 1921, January 29. He didn't live very long. And here's Claude Maney, March 2nd, 1895, Bertie. I think that's a Maney. No, it's not. W. Maney, May 4th, 1875, February 8th, 1917, I believe. Nope. My bad, 1947. And Emma E. Maney, June 24th, 1873, October 2nd, 1895. Ledford Maney, wife of Albert Maney. Oh, I thought I'd start this last segment of my little video here of my trip with a shot of the house where I stayed in for the last 3 days. This is the home of Jack and Evelyn Groves. Evelyn being my dad's first cousin and her husband. Just wanted to sort of troop around here. It's about sunset and show a little bit of farm. I mean, this guy's a real farmer. still works his farm, and this is all his land, at least all of the immediate vicinity. I'll sort of pan around. That road heads down to, I can get through it a little bit of the distance there. I may have to look around, but that's actually more barns and whatnot that he owns through the trees there. I'm going to go around to that in a second. This is also his barn area in here. And those are his pastures out the way there, including his old dog who's going to bark at me a little bit. Those are his pastures down through there. Everything pretty much within sight here, other than the mountains in the very, very background, is all his. There's the old van that's taking us on our little journey here, and I'm going to shut down for a second and get another location. This is the same, or a different shot actually, of some more of the barns on his property. And for Jim Bosler, we've got a little bit of a farm machinery show. That's a shed that holds a lot of his equipment, including his own backhoe. Looking out over the pastures there. His tractors. He has more than one tractor. Trucks and whatnot. This is all his equipment down to his pastures down below. This is actually a shot of more of his farm. He has several houses on the property. This house right here in the center, I'll go ahead and zoom in on it. That was the original farmhouse where his father lived, but this land has actually been in his family for several generations before that. And as I sort of pull back here, coming into the picture on the left are the barns that he used for his dairy cattle. He actually, I believe, is more into beef cattle now, but he was into dairy cattle for quite a while. Was very active in a lot of cattlemen's associations and this and that. We'll just sort of pan around. One of the reasons I'm going to this shot in this little segment is that this is the same area, not exactly the same farm, but the same area where my great-great-great-grandfather moved to begin farming much like this. There's a house up top where I was. I'm in Shooting Creek, North Carolina, where my relatives, where the Maneys, at least since my great-great-great-grandfather were. James Maney got 30 acres of land not very far from here at all, just within a stone's throw to begin his farm. And it's the same sort of situation down in the mountain valleys. Pull back even a little bit more. Well, as far as perhaps Jim Bosler is concerned and others, what would be farm scenery without at least one shot of some livestock? That's a lone cow out there is not really with the herd, and I can't figure out where the rest of them are. I think they're down below this hill where I can't see them, because they were under these trees today. He's got about 70 head
It shows that you're
cattle.
an authorized
Runs about
user,
160
which means
acres. This is all his pasture land down through here. Creek going down through the bottom of it.
First check back, which is really good.
I don't see any more cattle, although I think they're down below the hill. That's all his area up through there.
I will.
Same exact sort of thing. Perhaps a little bit more equipment, but same exact sort of thing that my family, at least the Maneys, has been doing for generations. And we're up back to the house again, and the old man that's going to take us home.
10 Roger.
A cow sort of come out from around the hill there, so I think the rest of them are down in there. But I can't seem to find any others.
Yeah.
Sort of looking around. He's watching me, and I'm filming him. So I can sort of pull back and
I
see him.
believe we do. I believe we do.
Out into the mountains. Hopefully the colors are coming through fairly well. The sun is actually set. Mountains in the distance there. And they call the folks around here that have been here for a long time
Okay, well, I'll have a look at it. So 9 o'clock.
country folk, farmers.
Well, our cable service
And
is
that's
basically
sort
an
of my
online
beginning.
DVR.
And to a certain extent, Sarah's beginnings. Although I'm sort of going to be far away from that with Mackenzie. But I'm sort of running out of things to shoot here, so this may be the last segment. Maybe I'll get a shot of Groves and his wife and whatnot. Maybe I won't, but here we are in Shooting Creek, North Carolina.
All right, well, yeah, I'll go into it now and see if I can find it, and then I'll just set it up to record. That way, I'll make sure I get it.
Great-great-grandfather James Maney.
All righty.
Well, I keep saying that that's the
All right.
last I'm going to shoot, and I get a little bit more to shoot at. Down the morning of the 4th, we're just about ready to head for Louisville. But I was trying to find the cattle yesterday.
That was Boz. There was a TV show he thought I might be interested in.
I don't know how this is going to come through. Those are all Jack Groves, my first cousin once removed head of cattle. Out in his pasture. Thought I'd get a quick shot of that. You can't see the mountains off in the distance because of the fog. Off, down on the farm. Now this probably is the last shot because we're getting ready to leave. July 4th, 1991.